Hi everyone, thank you for joining us to this customer enablement webinar on the new SOLIDserver 8.4. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes to allow a few more people to join, and then we'll get started. Welcome to the new joiners. We're just waiting a couple more minutes to allow a few more people to join, and then we're going to get started. So welcome everyone. We are very excited to share with you the new SOLIDserver 8.4 overview. So on the agenda today, we have an hour session, which we are going to divide into two parts. So the first one is going to be 25 minutes of presentations, and then we're going to have a demo for 15 minutes, and then questions, Q&A session for 15 minutes. You can ask at any time your questions in the control panel on your GoToWebinar platform, and we will review them at the end of the session. And just so you know, we are recording the session, so we will be sharing a recording and the slides after with you all. So with me today, I have Myriam. Myriam is our product marketing director. She has an extensive experience in product marketing and management in the telco and payment industries. And Fabien Smeets. Fabien is our CSA, Customer Solutions Architect. He is a networking and security expert, and he's responsible for pre-sales activities in France. And with that, I leave the floor over to you, Myriam, to present the agenda.
Thank you, Emily. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are. We are super excited to walk you through the new enhancements brought by the 8.4 agenda for today's session. So we'll first get into the market context, take you through what's new with 8.4, run through a live demo, and finish with a few takeaways before opening up the Q&A session. With that being said, let's get started. Just for us to remind that a key trend we are all witnessing, both professionally and personally, is the rapid acceleration of cloud and multi-cloud adoption. Organizations are not just starting their cloud journeys, they are fully embracing cloud transformation at scale. According to Cisco's 2023 Global Networking Trends report, multi-cloud is now the norm, with 92% of organizations using more than one public cloud, such as Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud Platform, to name the most popular. But multi-cloud comes with many challenges. Managing hybrid multi-cloud environments presents several challenges, with limited visibility being one of the most critical. When network assets like VMs and IP resources are distributed across AWS, Azure, or GCP and local sovereign clouds, it becomes difficult to maintain a unified, centralized view of what's connected to the network and why. This scattered data can quickly cause asset inventories to go out of date. The impact? Policy enforcement and compliance become harder to manage. Manual checks across disparate tools lead to inconsistencies, errors, and even configuration mistakes that can disrupt services. Ensuring consistency control becomes a real challenge. With fragmented data, security risks increase as unauthorized resources may access the network. Outdated policies increase the attack surface, and configuration errors create security holes. On top of that, integration difficulties add to the complexity. and as a result, service rollout becomes complex with manual and error-prone activities. This slows down operations. How can we tackle these challenges? One solution is network automation. As shown in the graph, cloud migration and hybrid multi-cloud architecture are key drivers pushing IT teams to implement automation. Automating the network helps organizations manage the complexities of hybrid and multi-cloud environments, making it easier to optimize and scale their operations. But let's zoom in on what IT teams most want to automate. As shown in the graph, top use cases include security policy management, top number 1, configuration compliance, and network automation, number 3. One of the most complex use cases is firewall automation, updating or adding rules across different vendors, which is often challenging due to volume of requests. This highlights that network compliance is crucial. As networks evolve continuously, network changes are constant, and staying compliant becomes more difficult. Networking and security teams are struggling to keep pace with these network changes and effectively propagate them over networks. It's crucial to properly manage these changes. They have impact on service deployment, firewall configuration, and security policies, but also device life management and more. If they are not correctly managed, they lead to errors spread across networks that may result in service disruption, compliance issues, and security holes. So that's why it's so crucial for networking and security teams. But to manage this effectively, networking and security teams need an accurate inventory of network assets and assurance that standards are being met. This is why a network source of truth is essential in this case. Let's dive into why a network source of truth is essential and why its importance will continue to grow. As we've seen, IT teams need an efficient way to discover and track all network assets across various multifaceted environments. By doing this, they can maintain accurate, consistent data and easily compare the intended network state, which means what was originally planned at a given point in time, with what's actually in place, meaning the actual state of the network. The key is to automatically reconcile this data to increase its quality and ensure it's always up to date. This is what an effective network source of truth does. In essence, an effective network source of truth must discover and consolidate network assets, reconcile data for improved quality, and ensure data accuracy over time. This approach gives IT teams the reliable information they need to implement automation without causing network issues. It also ensures continuous network compliance with security standards and policies, making sure that network changes comply with their standards, security policies, IP spaces, and more. And that's what IT professionals expect from their DDI solutions. Ranked number 2 from the graph, you'll see that they expect their DDI to deliver comprehensive network source of truth capabilities to drive end-to-end ecosystem automation, ranked number 1. Robust network and cloud object discovery comes in 3rd position. So now let's explore how the new features introduced in SOLIDserver 8.4 are designed to continue to deliver on these expectations. With the 8.4 release, we're enhancing network asset discovery and network source of truth. First, we'll introduce a new Cloud Observer plugin for Cisco Meraki, which improves network and cloud discovery, provided extended visibility across hybrid and multi-cloud environments. Second, we'll explore IPAM data reconciliation, designed to boost IPAM data quality, enabling a more effective network source of truth and facilitating change management and network validation. But let's start with Cloud Observer Cisco Meraki plugin. As you know, Cloud Observer that we already have within SolidServer current release provides automated discovery of cloud objects running on public and private cloud networks. We currently support Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform, Microsoft Azure, VMware vCenter, and with the 8.4, we add Cisco Meraki to that list. But before diving into the new feature, let's quickly recap what Cisco Meraki is. It's a cloud-based platform designed to simplify network management by allowing you to easily deploy, manage, and secure various devices such as wireless routers, switches, firewalls, and more. It's a cloud-based management platform. It's widely used with over 15 million active devices, so you may be using it. With Meraki, you can quickly set up hybrid multi-cloud environments, connected branches, campuses, and cloud networks, but also support AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and more, and unified LAN WAN and SD-WAN management under one platform. So what does the Cloud Observer plugin do? This new plugin automatically discovers, tracks, and consolidates any network objects managed by Meraki. This is what you quickly see on the right-hand side of the screen. You'll see more in a minute with the demo. You'll get a centralized view of all Meraki network devices, along with their detailed data, such as IP address, device type, MAC address, first, last seen port, and so on. You also get the ability to sort, filter, and report on metadata. And finally, you get tools to identify and troubleshoot issues quickly. So what are the benefits? First, enhanced visibility. You have a complete, unified, holistic view of Meraki objects alongside other network data, as we are discovering other network objects from other cloud vendors, public and private. And with SolidServer, you also have the ability to aggregate network objects connected in your on-premises networks. This is essential for feeding an effective network source of truth and helping with audits and overall network monitoring and management. Second benefit is with better resource management. You can spot unused and non-compliant resources and take action, which helps manage cost. Third, with operational efficiency, your networking teams can access all the information they need in one place, speeding up problem solving and decision making because you see it, so you can pinpoint anomalies and react accordingly. And finally, improved risk management and compliance. You'll benefit from better control, detect suspicious activity faster, and enforce corporate standards more consistently. This feature will improve how you manage network devices, providing this unified and holistic visibility. The second key feature brought by 8.4 is data reconciliation in IPAM. Here is what it does. It brings an automated data inconsistency detection and remediation between three modules, Cloud Observer and EfficientIP locator on one hand, and IPAM. It compares data across these modules to easily spot any inconsistencies and lists them separately with details on the nature of the discrepancy. It permits to set alerts when discrepancies are found. And you also have a quick view and quick demo on the screen. It provides, in addition to that, when you spot an inconsistency, then you will be provided with single or multiple remediation actions to reconcile data, simplifying network validation and streamlining the network compliance. Actions could include adding or editing IP or MAC addresses for both Cloud Observer and EfficientIP Locator. One additional use case we bring with EfficientIP Locator is adding network routes. We'll see this in a minute. Benefits brought by this new feature is, of course, increased data quality. by reconciling data. It ensures that your network source of truth is always accurate and up to date, which is critical. Improved efficiency, easily identify incorrect data, deployment errors, and propose solutions, reducing the time spent on manual checks. Enhance security. It helps you discover unknown assets and keep configurations and policies up to date, reducing potential security risks and simplified compliance, since you are able to continuously monitor and flag these data inconsistencies with your corporate or security standards, then it makes it easier to maintain compliance. All of this comes and brings additional value to Network Automation Hub, which is a solution we launched last year. This solution is composed of DDI, open APIs with built-in network source of truth and discovery tools such as Cloud Observer and EfficientIP Locator. So we reinforce the value brought by network automation by bringing these new features, which makes network automation more insightful because of the data discovery, the data reconciliation, increased data quality, and this makes IPAM as a solid foundation for effective NSOT. It's more open as we expand ecosystem connectivity with Cisco Meraki plugin, and you also can benefit from open APIs, SolidServer being an API-first platform, in order to speed up, accelerate integrations with other systems and tools from your ecosystem. Finally, you gain efficiency with easier network validation and simplified compliance, in addition to APIs which you can use to scale end-to-end ecosystem automation. This means that this value translates directly into tangible benefits around enhanced visibility, improved operational efficiency, cost control, and simplified compliance. I'm not digging into the details as we have covered all the topics you can see here from the slide, but you'll get the slide after the presentation I said by Emily, and you can directly go into the details. You will be able to go into the details. Now let's see this in action with use cases and how it aligns with the most important network automation use cases we've seen before. First, with multi-cloud asset discovery automation with the Cloud Observer Cisco Meraki plugin and all data network objects being discovered, you have the ability to automate that discovery of all instances, network devices, be able to identify anomalies, especially setting alerts on status or missing tags, and manage reconciliation of data along with the remediation options to keep network source of truth always accurate and up to date. Second use case deals with firewall policy enforcement automation. You may remember that's the key and one of the most challenging use cases that we covered at the beginning of the presentation, meaning that it's really difficult and security teams struggles to update policies or add rules. And with Network Automation Hub and IPAM, you have, as well as the accurate and up-to-date data you have in, it simplifies or helps automate this policy update with synchronization of zones and subnets from creation to deletion, automate and update deployment of security policies or add rules, and ensure that rules configurations are always up to date and accurate. This will permit to reduce the risk of errors and save time and streamline or help with the compliance across the entire network infrastructure. Finally, third use case is with automating infrastructure, applications of service deployment, and obviously with the Network Automation Hub, meaning DDI at the core, you are able to provision, activate, control, provision and update IP addresses and subnets, activate, configure and activate DNS services, connecting with different tools, cloud orchestrators, network controller, or also infrastructure as code. This enables to control and reconcile changes to maintain your answer. So once you have deployed your resource, you are able to check and get information on what has been effectively deployed, populating new data into your app IPAM and benefiting from reconciliation and enabling you to validate post-change network, post-change network, post-network changes. Now we have finished with these two key new features that we wanted to highlight more specifically, but 8.4 brings more, and especially with these key new features around CQF. We'll come to it in a minute. For those who know, CQF is part of DNS Guardian, and here we bring an enhancement with a new user interface to be able to manage CQF and CQF policies. DHCP active standby clustering, that will be covered in a minute. API authentication through token. You'll see it also during the demo. It's a new authentication method to secure API calls based on a token. Connection Profile Manager, this new feature enables to have a central place where to create managed connection profiles used in the DNS cloud, as well in Cloud Observer. You'll see it briefly. New Packager will improve package management for installing new releases, managing dependencies, and bringing package signature. And finally, Dynamic Version Checker will notify you when a new product version is available from the manager interface. But first, quick reminder on CQF. As mentioned, this feature is included in DNS Guardian. CQF provides advanced DNS filtering, allowing you to create security policies that combine client identifiers such as IP or MAC address, domains, and an action such as allow, deny, or a countermeasure such as quarantine. Fabien will take you through the demo of this feature, especially connecting with the manager user interface, but the value is really the granularity that will bring with this filtering policy definitions, which is not only based on domain. It's important to remember that as the early point to an organization's network, so DNS is ideally positioned to become the first checkpoint. Therefore, it can prevent access to known malicious domains and block harmful websites before a connection is established and any traditional inline security kicks in. This rich granular filtering is a key advantage of CQF, providing proactive protection against cyber threats, and it can be applied to groups of users down to individual, and also used in conjunction with the DNS threat intelligence feed. With this rich user-based filtering policies, it's also something important to note that you'll improve application access control, and it will help enforce and enable micro-segmentation and application zoning, contributing to zero trust network access. Finally, this is even more advanced and comprehensive than DNS firewall and RPZ capabilities, in the sense that with RPZ, you are limited in terms of entries, 500,000 entries, whereas with CQF, especially the feed, you have no limitations in terms of domains. So the CQF Manager user interface, briefly, you'll see it in a minute. So this is the user interface that enables you to create rules, lists, and deploy these policies, deploy and manage them. As we said, it's high granularity, consistent security policies, which you can do from a central management interface. You can use and define this policy leveraging DNS threat intelligence feed like the one we offer, DNS Threat Pulse, in a CQF format, if you want to benefit from finer grain application access control and all this granularity in terms of items which you can base for defining the policy. Tags and categories can be inherited from DNS thread pulse, especially. And then you can visually monitor and enforce these policies. Now I'll hand over to you, Fabien, in order to take us through the DHCP active standby clustering and explain us a little bit more what it brings and how it improves what we have today.
Thank you, Myriam. Yeah, so a little word about DHCP clustering. That's something that a lot of customers were asking us since a lot of time. So now it is possible. So the idea of DHCP clustering is to have local redundancy across different DHCP services. So before you had failover. So failover is still present in the product. We didn't change that, but now you have the possibility to also do DHCP clustering. So DHCP clustering will use layer 2 connectivity, and you will have one active member and one standby member. And you can mix DHCP clustering with the failover to create a scenario where you can have both local redundancy and geographical redundancy across different data centers. So when the active member of the clustering will fail, the failover will automatically be recreated with the new active member. All right. Then we have some other minor feature that I will mention just before going to the demonstration. You have Guardian specific logs now. So before, when you needed to see Guardian log, you needed to go to the name services on the log page. So now you have dedicated services name for the Guardian logs. The second point is AWS role authorization. Again, that was something that was asked a lot. So now we can support role authentication for every AWS connectivity. So whenever you need to manage DNS from AWS or use Cloud Observer to discover assets from AWS, you can use this role authentication. DHCP scope, 31 prefix, so no need to explain. SolidServer image signature, DHCP v6 improvements. You will also have some more options for the RPZ DNS firewall, some upgrade on the bind engine and the operating system. The firewall rules can be commented. So I speak about the management firewall rules. So now you can comment them and add the description about what they do. And we support new type of resource records within the DNS modules. If you want more detail about those features, do not hesitate to send a message on the chat. We will answer the question after the end of the presentation. For now, I will show you the interface and the new feature. So I will begin with Cloud Observer. So with Cloud Observer, one of the new features is Meraki. And with Meraki, you will be able to discover device and connected clients. So let me, I will just filter here on all the instances. Okay. So the same way we discover VMware, AWS, Azure, GCP instance, we now are able to discover connected device from Meraki and client. So you will have the type here, which will be very important for Meraki plugin. And you can use this type to either show the client connected to the device or show the device themselves without that. Okay. using the capability of the product, you can still use this as alerting tools, some monitoring tools. So let's say you want to be sure that no device are down, so you can create this kind of filter, and you can still create an alert about that, or just use that in the dashboard. The remediation part now, so it is available for every plugin that we previously have. Here I will show you 3 different types of remediation. The first one will be IP address. So here I discovered an IP address from VMware plugin. You can see that this IP address is not present in the IPAM for now, so I will show you that. I have the network, but not the IP address. So if I click here for this IP, you can see that it is the same IP. We just click Add, select the space, click OK. And after a little while, yeah, the IP is now present in the IPAM. So this is very simple to do. You can also have other kind of remediation. So let's say I have an IP already present in the IPAM and discovered from Cloud Observer, but with a different MAC address. Those kind of situation can happen if you replace an old device that had a failure, but you give the device the same IP as he had before. So the MAC address will be different, but not the IP address. So again, you can use the Cloud Observer remediation to change that. So I will just show you the MAC address of this device. You can see it's not the same. The last bit is different. So I will just edit that and accept the remediation. So just have to search again. Yeah, and you can see the MAC address change. You can also do remediation from net change. So you will have the same kind of remediation as I just showed you, IP address and MAC address. But one specificity of net change is also the possibility to do a remediation about the root that net change discovered. And when you remediate a root from net change, you will create a network. So I will show you just before during the remediation that this network that I select is not present. Yeah, this will do it. Let's go. Maybe this way. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so no network. And now let's add it. And the network should be there. Did I? Yeah, I saved it. Okay, so now the network is present on the IPAM. So that's for the remediation part. Now I want to show you a little bit about the new CQF manager interface. Previously, if you were already using CQF, you had to manage it and configure it using either command line interface or using option on the property of a DNS server, which were not very easy to do. So now we have a dedicated interface to do that. And the way it works is that you will have rule set that you will deploy on specific Guardian machine. And the rule set contain rules, and the rules are basically rules, CQF rules that you want to enforce on this, on the Guardian you are deploying to. So I create a little example for you here where you, at first, you will have some blacklist IP and domain. So the blacklist IP are client IP, and the blacklist domain are destination domain. So you can create either client or destination lists that you can use. Then I want to show you an example of integration with ThreadPulse. So with ThreadPulse, we'll have category that you can use to create CQF policy. And here I create something to alert the SOC about newly observed domain. So you can see here the log option. So we will log query log, answer log, and the match of the list, but we will not block the domains because newly observed domain can be legitimate domain or illegitimate domain. Then we have phishing alert for the user. So for this one, we will use the redirect action to make sure that the client is aware that he was one click to be, he was about to be phished. So we want to alert the user on that. And the last part will be a blocking policy for every malicious category that we have on ThreadPulse. So for that, I will just block everything and I will log the query log. I don't need to log the answer log because the server will just answer NX domain. So I don't need to have this information. I already know that. I will show you a little bit the list. So as I said before, we can have client list and domain list. The domain list will be destination list. Here I have my IP address. I can also use a DNS zone to get the IP address. And if I don't want to use the IP address as a criteria to filter, I can use other criteria like MAC address or VLAN, for example. And for the domain here, it is a destination. Again, you can provision new domain here, or you can use the DNS zone as a way to get your data. And last menu, the tags. So you can create any tag that you want. Here are the tags for ThreadPulse, but if you want to add more tags and make them link to some records, you can, of course, do it. I just want to finish the demonstration with a few other new features. So connection profile. So now you have the possibility to save credential in this new menu, and those credentials will be used to connect to specific integration. So here I create something to connect to Cisco Meraki, but I could have created something to connect to AWS and use the same profile for different kind of action. So you are no longer forced to not your credential in third-party application. The last thing I want to show you is the IPI token. So you can now create IPI token from your account and make application use those token with specific restrictions. So the user can set their custom restriction without have the need to be able to create specific user. So that's a plus for the security of the IPI. All right. So now we can go back to the presentation. We got a few slides left, and then we can answer the question. Yeah, live demo. Yeah, we did that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Fabien, for this insightful demo. So just a few things for you to note. This 8.4 release is an ESV version. This means that it's an extended supported version. This will be supported for a longer period of time. And obviously, this will be supported until the next ESV version for the next major release, which will be a 9.x version. You can get any more details from the myefficientip.com website, either in the global technical support guide or from the lifecycle webpage. That's almost the end of the presentation. Just last slide, recapping all what we've seen for now, key takeaways before we get into the Q&A session. If you are able to move to the final slide, Fabien. Then just to remind everyone what we've seen so far with the 8.4, so brings a couple of new enhancements. What we want to highlight today is really these two key features in particular that improve discovery and visibility with the Cloud Observer Cisco Meraki plugin, how the IPAM, the built-in IPAM data reconciliation will increase data quality to simplify network compliance, and how all of these can be used to feed an effective network source of truth based on IPAM that will enable to scale end-to-end ecosystem automation. Thank you very much for your time, and over to you, Emily, to get into the Q&A session.
Thank you, Myriam. Thank you, Fabien. So we have received a few questions already, but if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask them in the control panel of your GoToWebinar platform. So first question, will Cloud Observer support Juniper Mist in a future release?
So it is not planned at the moment, but we already have few questions of this kind this morning. So it is not planned for the moment. The plugins that are in the roadmap are for Panorama, Palo Alto, and Party Manager from Fortinet. If you want a new plugin to be created, there is few things that you can do. The first thing is to get in touch with your sales representative and ask them to create a sales challenge about that. Because when we do that as a salesperson, the production team and the development team got notified, and then we can advance on those needs. You can also use the external plugin to, if you really need that, you can create your own plugin on Cloud Observer. That's the use for the external plugin. And that's not something hard to do. You just have to make a few API call yourself, and you will be able to discover yourself some device.
So, and your CIC will be able to guide you through the use of this custom plugin, Cloud Observer plugin, right, Fabien? At least for the very beginning, and get an overview on how to use it, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Moving to the next one.
Yeah. What are the new RPC response policy options?
I think there is no new response policy. Oh, yeah. About you can now refer an IP address as a reverse record in the RPZ policy. So what it means is that you can, if you want to identify a client, before you were forced to use an IP address as a whole, and now you can use a DNS record which mentioned the IP address.
Good.
That's one of the new functionality.
Perfect.
What performance considerations are there for the new features?
That's a good question. You have to keep in mind, for example, for Cisco Meraki, that unless AWS or Azure, you will discover device and also client connected to device. So you will potentially have a lot more of discovery using the Meraki plugin than you had when you were using AWS. So that's something you have to keep in mind. For the other features like remediation, and for remediation, there is no performance issue about that. For CQF, it was something that was present on the previous release, so there is also no change in performance. We just had a graphical interface. So yeah, no big performance impact with those features.
Okay, thank you. Is it mandatory to migrate from 8.3 to 8.4 in the next 6 months, as support for 8.3 is only for 6 months?
Yeah, that's recommended. It's not mandatory, as the product will still work, but we highly recommend to plan a migration as soon as you can. Of course, it's a good idea to wait for the 8.4.1, even if we made a lot of tests about the 8.4.0. It's just a good idea to wait a little bit so we get more feedback about how it works.
But yeah, the planning the migration is something which can get started. I mean, at least from a perspective of planning and scheduling that migration, right? It's something that can start as of today.
Another question, will you be able to upgrade to 8.4 directly from 7.3, or do you need to step through another 8.
I think you can make the upgrade directly, but as a reminder, it might be a good idea. Yeah, it is possible. You can also go step by step if you like.
When is 8.4 generally available?
It was available 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So you can download it right now.
Is there a plan to improve NetChange IP locator to natively support Cisco ACI Fabric?
We always try to improve NetChange. So for example, when you are facing a device which is not supported by NetChange, you have the possibility again to contact your sales rep or pre-sales. And we have a specific procedure with the support to scan the SNMP trace that we had with your device and improve the integration. So specifically for this kind of device, I don't know, but we always try to improve the integration with NetChange.
So what would be the process in which case, Fabien? What do you recommend to reach out to?
Get in touch with us, the sales rep or pre-sales, because we have to get in touch with the support and get us the information they need.
Okay, sounds great.
Does the -31 prefix really available for DHCP scope?
Is that a real question? Yeah, that's not a joke. It's possible.
That's a question that we got. Okay, I don't see any more questions at this point. I don't see any more questions. Yeah, and the questions that we didn't answer, no, there was none. I think we went through them. Oh, one last one. Do you plan to organize some kind of workshops to introduce the roadmap for customers?
Oh, yeah. So in France, we currently are contacting every customer through the year to get the feeling about the solution and give them news about the roadmap. So if you were not contacted this year by your sales rep or pre-sales rep, you should have been. So yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
Yeah, so that's something we do from time to time, obviously, and for the rest of the world and any geographies where you are in, feel free to reach out to your sales representative and well organized. And this is something we do, of course, on demand. So do not hesitate to contact your sales representatives and ask for it.
And if you don't know who is your sales representative, do not hesitate to ask your partner or directly to the support.
That's a good point. Thank you.
A couple more questions that are coming through. With 8.4, does Cloud Observer now allow us to have the vision at the VNet level for Azure?
I guess it was already possible before the 8.4, but it was released. The Cloud Observer was released on 8.2, and at the moment of it was released, it was already possible to have a view about the network.
And the last one, will there be clear requirements for AWS instances type documented for 8.4?
Oh, I'm not sure what the question is meant to be. Do you mean the installation documentation for deploying a machine on AWS? So I will try to answer that in the view. So when we make recommendation about a deployment for AWS, for example, and it is the same for Azure, mostly we are giving you the minimal requirements to get your machine running. Then you are responsible to make sure that the machine you are indeed deploying will match the requirement that we are giving you. If you are talking about Cloud Observer, there is no requirement to discover an instance from AWS.
Someone says, I have Roku switches, Palo Alto, and FortiGate firewalls for SD-WAN. Do I need net change for the switches and Cloud Observer for the others?
Palo Alto use SNMP for the firewall, I guess. And that's also the case for most of the Fortinet products. So as long as you have a way to communicate using SNMP with your device, you are not forced to use Cloud Observer. Cloud Observer use IPI, NetChange use SNMP. So if you can do it in SNMP, you don't need the IPI. You're not forced to use it, but you can have some advantages to use the API. It depends on what you need to do.
Good. I don't see any more questions coming through. Yep, should be good. If we have missed any, we'll get back to you on the separately as we have backup of all your questions. So we'll get back to you individually to answer those. In any case, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure hosting you today. Be on the lookout for an email coming from us as we are going to share the recording and the slides. And with that, we wish you a very good rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.